Carlos Ramirez, owner of NVS Audio in Roselle, New Jersey. We have a Honda Accord in for a huge wiring rescue. Bunch of mistakes done on this car. So he kept breaking the Clarion crossovers. We have two there, and we have one mounted under the rear deck.
Every car, bro.
We're gonna pull those out and do a DSP. Enclosure's not bolted down. Then he's got this giant battery in here. They're using 0 gauge aluminum wire instead of oxygen-free copper. And even if you're okay with that, you're not okay with this. 0 gauge on the positive side, 4 gauge on the ground side. If the amplifiers are in the trunk and the battery's in the trunk, why wouldn't you run the amplifiers directly to the battery? That way they can get the most current possible. But okay. Ultimate in laziness. Here's the line level converter that's going into the crossover. They were too lazy to catch the left and right signals, so they caught both signals from the left rear speaker. If you balance everything to the right, all the music cuts off completely. The other problem with doing that is Honda Accords have high pass signal going to the rear speakers. So you have a lot of energy reduced below 150 hertz. So we're gonna pull all this out, we're gonna run a DSP, we're gonna sum the signals, and we'll make sure that it can play from 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. This is just not the right way to do it. Stock radio. Pop the hood. Stock battery. Hold this head up. Stand on the left. So now they did 0 gauge cheap aluminum wire with no fuse. So that's a fire hazard. And nothing on the ground side. On the ground side, factory. So that means all this current is being pulled through this wire, and then the return current path going back to the alternator is completely factory. That's not right. No big three, no upgraded grounds on the alternator. But we're gonna pull it apart and make it right. This is probably the worst part. No fuse. Go ahead and cut that fire hazard before we start working on it. So no tools. I was able to pull the positive terminal off, hand tightened. That's not good for current flow. Oh wow, yeah, Rob just brought some to my attention. It starts at 4 gauge, then it goes down to 16 gauge. Okay, and then a rookie mistake: when you screw the amplifiers in the back of the seat, make sure the seat doesn't have an armrest, or you end up doing that. Ouch. So this is how other shops wire 4,000 watts RMS. Looks like they cut the rear deck with a spoon. Victor's gonna make it right, right?
Yes.
You just can't make this stuff up. That's not safe. The sway bar actually moves, and they have the wire tied to it with no fuse. No bueno, no good, man. The wire that we have coming from the front with no fuse on it is going through sharp metal with no grommet. It just gets better and better. So they ran double 4 gauge to the woofer, and when they couldn't fit in the hole, they used a whole roll of tape. I've literally never seen anything like this before. This is crazy. And wait till you see the other side. So you do double 4 gauge just so you can end up at less than 8 gauge. And then the math gets crazier once you leave the box. So there you go. You have 2 4 gauge, 1 power, 1 ground. And then you convert it to BAM! I hear you laughing, Leo. So you do all that to do that. You just can't make this up. Carlos Ramirez, owner of NVS Audio in Roselle, New Jersey. The Honda Accord wiring rescue is done. Car's ready to be delivered. This is what we started under the hood. The car came in, the battery wasn't held down, so we did a factory battery hold down. Then we did a 0-gauge feed through our Stinger fuse composite mount, holding the fuse in place all the way to the back. The car was not fused before. There was nothing protecting the power line from under the hood to the back. We did the 0-gauge upgrade to the alternator, and we did 0-gauge upgrade to the frame, and then underneath we did another 0-gauge to the block. The battery in the trunk was previously not secured. It was just sitting in the corner with a little Home Depot L bracket. We welded up a steel battery frame, bolted it to the frame of the car, and then this is the fuse block that protects the line leaving this battery going to the front. We have a fuse in the front, protects the line going to the back. And then we have a 0-gauge feed to this distribution block, which feeds the 2 amplifiers behind the seat. So everything's secure and safe. We rewired the subwoofer. So we did 8-gauge Stinger oxygen-free copper wire, power wire, for the positive and negative of the subwoofer going to the amplifiers. We upgraded the speakers in the back deck and properly cut the holes and secured the speaker 4 screws each. We removed the Clarion crossover and we went with an Artisan Bit 10 DSP. XT90 quick disconnect in case he wants to remove the subwoofer enclosure. All the wiring is nice and neat now.
Will feature music in many styles.